ready whenever you guys are.
Wait,
why don't we, sorry, can we do a quick introduction of the advisory board panel? Because they haven't met you, I forgot.
Sure. I'm Ritu Shah. I work at Shire.
Zohar Kolala with Mondelez International.
Eric Chern, I work at Chicago Trading Company.
Michael Workman, I work with Crossroads Development.
Ted Yady, Velocity.
Denise Cross, MasterCard.
Doug Boersma, Wintrust Financial.
Okay.
Okay, so right there in the middle is Justin Bodell, and to his left, that's Ben Boki, and to Justin's right, that's Jack Butler. This is Brett Eckenberg, and I'm Phil Goldberg, and we are Athleet.
All right, so from our personal experiences as well as a few problem interviews, we concluded that there were three main problems that lacrosse players and just athletes in general had trouble solving. The first one was that players and coaches couldn't connect or compete out of practice. Obviously, if they're athletes and they're playing a sport, they're very passionate about it. They want to get better at that sport, and they want to work with their teammates to get better as a unit. What we thought they needed was a platform to do this, and we're going to help them. We're going to show you how we're going to help them solve this. The second problem we found was that athletes can't track their success. They saw that all the time they were putting in practice, and then they saw the results on the field, but they needed a quantitative way to measure their success, which again we are going to aim to help solve for them. And then last, we found that they had trouble fueling competition. Obviously, they're really passionate about the sport. They want to go in, they want to compete, but they need another platform to do that, which again, we're going to show you how we solve that.
So our solution was a smart lacrosse ball with a companion app. The ball's going to have a Bluetooth chip and accelerometer in it, and then going to connect to the companion app, which is going to tell the player stats such as speed and practice reps taken. And then to fuel competition, we are going to have a kind of a leaderboard among players where they can see other teammates and their friend scores, which can help motivate them to beat them. And then we'll also have a team dashboard, which can give coaches the ability to post assignments, and then they can see their players' progress on those assignments. And that is a mock-up of our first generation app and the community page where athletes can see each other's scores and practice reps.
And here is a look of our website if we were to make it. And as you can see, it's really accessible and simple for the consumer to use if they were to visit. And in the middle, we have the demo video where it's going to show the product and the app so they understand what we're about. And then we have a sign-up page where they could put their emails and we can notify them later. And then, of course, the buy now. And that would help us a lot to see if the consumer is really wanting to pay for such a thing.
For validating our solution, we surveyed people at the GBN lacrosse team, and for the guys and girls along with other people. So the age range we surveyed them was about from 12 years old to over 26 years old. And we asked them how they currently found their shot speed with lacrosse balls. And the majority said they used a radar gun, some didn't know, and some guessed and stuff like that. So we asked them if they'd be interested in the speedometer function, and 75% said they would be interested. And the speedometer function was like the original idea we had based for the ball, so that was like the main target for the surveys.
All right, so we thought it'd be really important to show you guys how we differentiate ourselves from other companies, because obviously there are a few other products that do the similar things. There's a few other smart kind of piece of sporting equipment that we'll show you in just a second. But we thought we really wanted to separate ourselves on the community aspect, the competition aspect, and the team aspect. Everybody wants to be a part of things and be involved, so we thought that we're targeting our main target market, which would be lacrosse players right now and then athletes later in general. We thought that we would separate ourselves from everybody else by providing them a platform to do this and really making it easy for them to connect and compete outside of practice. And then we also thought that our third unique value proposition is teams. We thought that it'd be really important for us to find a way to link coaches and players together as well, because obviously coaches are a part of the team, they're a crucial part of the team, so having them be involved in external practice as well, we thought that'd be really important and could help separate us from other smart athletic trackers.
So for customer segments, we'd be selling to young lacrosse players that just started the sport and would like to see where they're at in the game. And parents we'd be selling to, and they would want to invest in their kid to make them better and also give them like a fun gadget to play with. And then coaches we'd sell to them so they could hold the players accountable and see how they're performing outside. And then lacrosse enthusiasts that love the sport of lacrosse and just want to play with the newest technology.
Some of our competition includes ZEP, and ZEP, they're in other sports such as baseball, softball, and tennis, but they don't have a community aspect with their product, and their product is in like the racket or like the bat itself, not in the ball itself, so that's what separates us from them a lot. And the Wilson X is only in basketball and in football, and their product is would definitely be a lot more expensive than ours, and they don't have a team or community aspect like we do either. And Strike, they're strictly baseball, and once again, they don't have a community aspect or a team aspect, and they're not even on the market yet, so.
So for our total accessible market, we're looking to expand into other sports after lacrosse, but we decided to start with lacrosse since it's directly related to all our problems. So we took the total population of the United States and then took the adult and teenager population because that's who we'd be targeting to. And then the President's Bureau of Health said that 51% of people exercise 3 days a week and 55.5% of high schoolers play a sport. So we took the different percentages of those and turned it into one percentage based on the total population and got our total accessible market. And then our serviceable accessible market is just for lacrosse. And we found, based on U.S. lacrosse data, there were 800,000 people playing lacrosse in the United States. And then so we decided we were only going to market to high school youth and college players. So that makes up almost 60% of the lacrosse players. And then we would also be marketing to parents. So 69% of kids live with two parents. So we took that number and to get more than one parent for each kid, which makes our market bigger. And then we assumed that we found that 20% of families have one child, so we were able to take away 20% in order to find the number of parents with multiple children to reduce the target market so that we don't have repeats.
For our cost of goods sold, we estimate the labor is about $5, and then to make the ball, there would be a rubber cost of 18 cents. There would be an RFID chip, which would track the data majorly, and that would be pretty cheap as well, along with an accelerometer, which would be like the miles per hour when you throw the ball, and then the shock absorber, which would absorb the shock if you throw the ball against a wall or something so it doesn't shatter, and then there would be GPS so you wouldn't lose the ball. And for the total of that would be $12.83. And then for selling general and administration costs, the domain name is about $12, web hosting is $17.99, and app store channels is $25, for the total being $54.99.
And here's our 5-year model, and we projected at the end of 5 years $64,662.
And we would be retailing the ball for $19.99 with a $2 subscription fee per month to access the data from the ball, which would be primarily marketed towards teams. So into the MVP, we would do a demo video to showcase the different aspects of the product, such as the analytics, the team aspect, and the app, without actually having to build the app. So we wouldn't have to take all the time out to do that, but we could still showcase all the things that it could do. Then we do a Kickstarter to help raise awareness and raise money in order to develop the product. And then we do a landing page to help gauge interest in the product.
Alright, so obviously we have to promote our MVP in order to help generate the maximum amount of stats and data we can collect from our minimum viable product. So we thought that a good way to do this would be through organic marketing, which is free marketing that you don't have to pay for, which is good because we do not currently have money. The first way we thought we could do this is social media. It's very easy to set up Instagram, Facebook, Twitter accounts for our product, and then we can just keep posting there. We can try to get affiliated with some bigger accounts and bigger companies who could then also support us, and then we thought that'd be a good way to grow our following very quickly. We also thought it would be important to meet with local coaches and use the word of mouth technique. We can tell them about our product, maybe give them a demo once we have one developed, and then they can tell other coaches and they can tell their teams so their players want to buy our product and their players are excited about it. And then our third solution we thought would be a giveaway. We thought that'd be important if we just gave away a few quick little prototypes of the balls so people could test it out. We maybe give it to some larger accounts to get on social media so they can show themselves playing with it and they can expose it to more people so we can quickly grow a following.
And we can assume from the likes and views on our demo video the success and how it's doing online. And also the funding dollars on Kickstarter, we can assume that there's a high interest because they're willing to pay money to get the product. And then the clicks on landing page, that also shows the consumer's interest and the buzz it shows, the buzz it created online.
Alright, so our timeline for our MVP is the following. By the end of 1 week, we hope to get our landing page up. We want to start generating hype about our product, and we want to get people exposed to it as quickly as we can. Then by the end of 3 to 4 weeks, we want to get our demo video up, really showcasing the features of our product. Hopefully we'll have a prototype by then so we can use it and film ourselves using it to show other people its features. And then by the end of 4 to 5 weeks, we're going to get our Kickstarter up to start generating some extra money that we can use to meet with consultants and engineers and start developing the product itself. And then after the MVP, we want to begin developing our product and getting it on the market.
And for our MVP funding request, we request $12 for our domain name, $17.99 for our web host to keep the website up, and $30 for developing multiple units of our. So developing multiple units. So we want 3 to 4 lacrosse balls so we can kind of keep testing things out, and $150 for the Wilson X football because we want to use the Wilson X football to see how other companies are designing their products so we can kind of reverse engineer it to make our product, not copy it, but kind of see how we can make it our own. And our total will be $209.99.
Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
Really good.
Keep it 10 for questions, please. All right, we have 10 minutes for questions.
I'll start. You guys did a really good job of defining your customer segment, right? The high school players and the junior lacrosse players. So when you create this buzz and people start asking about the product, where are you going to tell them to go buy it? Is it all going to be online? Is it going to be at Dick's Sporting? It's going to be retail through Dick's or Total Lacrosse? Or is it all going to be online? More of what's the outlet? Is it retail, online?
To start, it's going to be through our website, and then
website.
We'll see the kind of interest that it gets. And then we'll see if we'll expand other channels.
Okay.
So I thought you guys did a fantastic job. I really like the fact that you're trying to blend sports and usage and data, which I think is really important. I guess I have 2 questions. One is, and I might have missed this in the presentation, but you talk about developing multiple units, which I think is right on for the MVP. Can you guys talk a little bit about how the approach that you take with that? Is that something where you get somebody else to help you? Do you know who would build these prototypes? Is this something you guys would do yourselves? And my second question, just to get it out there, is the distribution that you chose was kids and parents. And I'm curious if you thought about coaches and programs, because it seems to me like the power of this is going to be everybody in the program uses it, and if everybody has to make an individual decision, it actually may be harder if you get the entire program to use it.
In terms of development, I think that we we don't have anyone to develop it right now, but I think that we want to get the materials and then see what we can do ourselves, which we can't write code though, so that's a major shortcoming.
We are, though, working towards getting some preliminary meetings with some engineers and consultants to see like what advice they would have and anything they recommend. But we've started looking into the RFID chip, which we mentioned, which is made by Zebra Technologies. The NFL uses that to track some stats, so we thought that might be applicable to what we need it for. And then the GPS and the accelerometer as well to finish off the features we need. But we would have to meet with another engineer and consultant to finalize that.
And then in terms of marketing to coaches, we'd be looking to use that channel as well. I'm not sure if we mentioned it, but we definitely are looking to use that.
Because it's important for like coaches to see how their players are improving and what they need to improve on outside of practice, like when they're at home, like throwing the ball around, how much they're doing. You see that.
So I have another question. So you guys talked about the target price was $19.99, I think you said. So can you just talk a little bit about how you came up with that price?
Go
to the slide.
Oh yeah, you can go to the
Is that materials
costs.
costs?
You can go to COGS.
Okay, so obviously we wanted to make money on the product, so we knew we had to place it above $12.83, and then we just thought that $19.99 would be a good margin. And then also looking at some other of the smart balls, there was the Wilson football, which we mentioned, which is $150, I believe.
$200 retail.
$200 retail. There's also a basketball that goes for I think $200, and then a baseball for, not the strike, there's another one that goes for around $25, so we just thought that.
Which is not nearly as advanced. They're not
Right, there's a
any
big discrepancy
competition.
between, the $19.99 and the $200. So, okay, so you've taken into consideration the cost of the chip and
Yeah.
And then we
the
wanted to make
technology to build.
Yeah, well there is like you can buy on Amazon right now a baseball that you just throw it and they'll tell you the miles per hour, but that's like $25, and that just gets like really bad reviews and stuff like that.
and we wanted to make it more affordable.
What's that?
What?
We want more analytics than just miles per hour, so that wouldn't, be applicable to us.
And we wanted to make ours more affordable, and then we would make some of our money back through the subscriptions.
And then additionally, lacrosse balls, just normal lacrosse balls, do sell for less than all the other smart balls they've created. So we thought that, obviously we don't want to put our lacrosse ball out there for $200 or so, because a normal one costs $2, like $1.50 maybe. And baseballs, I think, are around $4 to $5, so we knew we had to be like a little bit close to the baseball range, but since we were more advanced, we had to be higher up towards their pricing.
How many of you are lacrosse players?
Just us three, and then Justin used to play freshman year.
Yeah, no, up to 8th grade.
So that's great. So you guys did a great job, by the way, in terms of setting it up. It was
Thank
really
you.
helpful. Maybe a clarifying question. You talked about competition and most of that being available in the racket itself, and you guys chose to go on the ball. Is that what you talked about? What what's the logic? Because would you end up actually paying 10 times or 5 times as much for a smart ball versus a regular ball? You guys
We
think
thought,
through that?
as far as why we chose to put the technology in the ball instead of the lacrosse stick, lacrosse, we just felt that for the stats we wanted to measure, like the number of repetitions, the speed of the ball, the duration of the practice session, we thought it'd be more accurate for us to use the ball as a way, like a guide point to track that data, because the stick, I mean, you're twirling it around and you could get some swayed results, and we thought it'd be hard to track the data we wanted in the stick. We thought it'd just be a lot easier in the ball because you can track its movement and its average velocity and speed and all the features we want to offer. And then I think that we thought that people would end up paying more for, like 10 times more for our ball, because I mean the GPS feature, you're not going to lose it, so you don't have to keep buying lacrosse balls. If you're playing for 5 years and you buy 20 balls each year, eventually you're going to use them or they get worn out. Lacrosse balls wear out very easily. Pretty much every season, I think GBN has to buy new ones, or they just get easily.
I mean, me myself, I've lost probably over 100 lacrosse balls in a week. Yeah.
And in this case, you won't lose it only because of the GPS or because it won't wear as much?
I mean, we thought that the GPS would be the primary reason you wouldn't lose it, and then we also thought that we were going to try to make a higher end lacrosse ball and using like the top technology to make sure that it didn't wear out as quickly.
Does it change
This
the
is
way
our
a team?
last question.
Oh, somebody else, okay.
That's okay.
Yeah,
This is our last question for time's sake.
You guys did a phenomenal job. I understood exactly what you're going for, and you should be proud of yourselves. The thing that intrigued me of your presentation is the connectivity. So the question I have is Bluetooth technology is what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And so does that need to be tethered to some device while you're using it?
We were gonna tether it to a smartphone.
The smartphone?
And then you can see the data on the smartphone.
So I'd like to maybe encourage you to look at how you think that would work. How many of you practice with smartphones in your pocket? But what really intrigued me about your presentation is actually it's called social media because that's like the word of the day. But the connectivity between coaches and students. I think that's very intriguing, actually, and maybe teammates holding each other accountable for the level of practices and things like that. That to me is actually really interesting. It's almost more interesting to me than the product itself. The product is very unique and cool, but I think you need to maybe work out some of those connectivity issues. Whether Bluetooth doesn't always work all that time, and how close does that need to be? Or whether that could be something that you can connect and then upload, unlike like a Fitbit type of an equally Fitbit where you plug in things like that. Really well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, group 2, can we